Huh.
Hello folks, Dane here at Johnny Guitars. I'm going to process this piece of Wenge into fretboards, fretboard blanks, and there's a couple things I just kind of want to talk about here on the way. Okay, I had the camera off for a second there because I remembered I wanted to sand it into this board so I could check, because just flipping the board back and forth and the way the grain ran out, pretty sure it was quarter sawn, and you're not going to be able to see that, but this is ridiculously perfectly quarter sawn all the way through here. I mean, completely 90 degrees to the surface. Here, I got one piece right here that's going a little sideways, and then it's right back to being straight. So totally quarter sawn. Real quick, I don't want to drag this out. I need roughly just a fuzz over 18 inches, right at 18 inches really, for a Gibson neck fretboard, and then just this 21 fret Fender is right at 18 3/8. So I'm gonna process these at 19 inches because of this 96 inch board and a fuzz. At 96 inches, that gives me 5.05 pieces out of this board, and so even with my saw curse in there, I'll have enough to get all the way to the end of the board because it's about 96 and a half. So the saw curse will not get me, won't short me up there. I probably will not cut all 5 pieces right now because I may want to do something else with the wood. I might want to rip it in and make it into sides for acoustic guitar or something. I don't have plans for that, but I hate to just cut it all up. But let me just finish the thought here real quick. So 19 being what I would need for, say, my worst case scenario. I shouldn't say, if I was going to do a 24 fret neck, then I would have to have longer than 19, and there's another reason why I might not go ahead and process all of it. But if I were to process this whole board at 19 inches, and the width of the board is 4 3/4, so I can cut it in the middle, right, at 2 3/8, which is more than I need for, and I won't get that because I got a saw curve there too. So, but 2 5/16, and you need 2 3/16 at the widest part on a fretboard. So I get 6 pieces because I've got a 1 inch yield, a 1 inch wide board. So that would give me 6 pieces out of every 19 inches. If you're quick, you did the math, it's 30 pieces, 30 fretboard blanks out of this piece of wood. Going by the StuMac model, this is the remnant off of the lighting right here is really bad. Remnant off of a StuMac fretboard. There you go. You can see their little number on the end. 1/4 inch thick. Now this one's 2.5 inches wide. I'm not gonna cut them that wide because it's just waste. Okay. The next thing to talk about, and I think I set the camera up so that you could see this. Back up. Did I write that down over here? I think that worked out to $2. I paid about $80 for this board. 9 feet, 1 inch, 8 feet, 96.5 inches long, 4 3/4 wide, and 1 inch thick. And I paid about $80 for that. I'm not going to bother to tell you what the board foot price was. Okay, so that's $2.66 a fretboard. All right, for myself, of course I have to do the milling on it. If I decide to sell any fretboard blanks, that would not cost $2.66 because I'm going to have to do a lot of milling to get those to where I want them to be. So, all right. Now the next thing is you can see, I think you can see that the run out on this grain is a little side, even though it's quarter sawn, the run out on the board is a little sideways. Now, even if you buy fretboard blanks from reputable dealers, you will get run out in your board like that. That doesn't bother me particularly, because I think it makes it more interesting. But if you look, you know, we come up here and say 19 inches, and then we go to 38 inches. This section, the run out is pretty straight on this side, this half. You do have a little curl right here. But the next section, it's 19. This section is perfectly straight. Can you see where am I at? Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. But from this here to here in this section, I would have 6 fretboards that are perfectly straight on the run out, and then also perfectly quarter sawn. So these are some pretty premium pieces of fretboard right here. I'm probably gonna cut 2 of these right now and process these 12 fretboards. Yeah, and I know I have that in this piece of board. I have some really, really straight, perfect looking wood. I don't know if I'm going to cut that or not. I might just do all of them. Okay, so I turned all the noise off just to explain something here. I set the blade on the bandsaw just a quarter and a fuzz, but with resawing, it's probably going to leave me a little shy of my desired thickness. Now I've got over 5/16 on the center section. I can try to get it in the camera, but you might just have to take my word for it. So I'm going to do, and I can't tell if I have the tape. Yeah, I'm holding the tape okay, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump my fence back a little bit, which will give me more than a quarter inch from the face. The one upside is that each face is smooth and flat, relative speaking. It's not going to have resaw marks in it. So when I go, I'm really right at quarter inch. So I'm definitely going to bump that in a little bit. But I am now at a point where I have a fat quarter. It's actually 9/32 on each side, and the center piece is 5/16. And so I have a smooth face on both sides. I don't need to take a lot off of this inside cut, and so that should be good for getting down to that quarter inch. The other thing is that this 5/16 piece gives me a 32nd on each side to clean this center piece up. So this should work out perfectly. What I will probably do though is go ahead and run these 3 pieces, and then find out, go ahead and run the sander on these pieces and make sure that they clean up within my quarter inch tolerance. T70 and T66. So this piece is definitely, the middle piece ended up definitely being thinner. get the earplugs out and the mask off. Okay, so this is the centerpiece, and this lighting in this corner is just horrific. Let's see if we can improve it any. Coming out here a little bit, maybe. All right, so I'm at 253, right on that guy. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm probably going to bang that block in, the fence in a little bit. I suppose we could just actually talk to the camera. Bang that block in a little bit on the fence, just to so I had plenty on the other ones. They were flattened out pretty quick. And I just put them through to get them to the thickness I wanted them, and then I got one pass on the on the original faces, and just open up the grain. So another word of advice here is anytime you're sanding wood, you open up two faces like that, be sure you sticker them when you lay them down, or lay them on edge, stand them on edge, so that they acclimate equally on both faces. Otherwise you're going to get cupped boards even if they're dry. I ran the other 9 pieces through the bandsaw. I told you I was going to readjust or change blades or whatever, because I felt like it must have pulled a little bit because it wasn't right where I thought it was going to cut. Fiddled with that adjustment a little bit, got it to where all 3 pieces out of each block were coming out equal. And so it gives me more on the centerpiece. It also gives me way more than I need on the outside pieces. But it definitely gave me more on the centerpiece. And if I was making you nervous the other day pushing those blanks through the saw without a backup block, to make sure I didn't have my fingers too close, I used a backup block. Gonna go ahead and put all those through the sander now, and I'll have those ready to finalize basically when I decide if I'm going to be a 24 3/4 5/8 Gibson scale or 25 1/2 Fender scale. So probably won't slot them. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I'm not going to slot a bunch of them for one thing and then end up needing it for something else. So I just now, once they're through the sander, I'll sticker them all, and then they'll be just ready to store for a while. I'm going to take it off the tripod or the camera, and I'll show you how I just stored them overnight. The ones I sanded, the other ones I just cut, but I stack them the same way. All right, so those are the ones I cut last night and sanded, and so you just stood them up on edge. And when they're thinner light, you can leave them just like that, but kind of when you tip the front ends together, they kind of support each other. So these are the ones I just cut. So those are all going through the sander, and I'll go ahead and run a little film on that, or whatever this thing in here is called. Okay, so that's 12 pieces of fretboard, and I have a 19, 2 3/8 wide, cross them, yep, that way, and 1/4 inch, yep, there's my dealio. All right, 254. So right at 1/4, and I was kind of surprised by the there we go, by that yellow streak going through there. And there, if I can't see it because it's in my front of my face. Here we go. So I had a couple of them like that, obviously side by side in the board. There's, and the others. Well, yeah, so I've got two of them that are pretty close on one side, having that same yellow streak in them. And then I got a little bit of yellow in there, but not quite as bold right down on the end. Now, I'd have to put these things on a neck. Yeah, that's too far into it where you'd lose all of it out. However, I actually think it's kind of cool. I would try to leave that on a guitar. Although that's right at the edge, so you probably wouldn't get a lot of it. Anyway, that's my process for making fretboards. And, well, make a whole lot of noise and turn away from the camera and try to talk. So that's the process that I use currently for making fretboards. I'd like to, I'm anticipating a larger bandsaw, so I'm really hoping that works out to be as nice an addition to the shop as I'm hoping it will be. Be able to leave one bandsaw set up for doing that resaw type thing with at least a 3/4 inch wide blade in it. I still have the piece 19-inch section in the board I showed you originally that has really straight grain in it, you know, but if I wanted to make a 1-gay neck, solid 1-gay neck, that would be the chunk I used. So I'm just going to let it hang for a while before I decide to cut that up. Alright folks, a little postscript to the stickering topic. Thanks for watching, and go make some dust. I realize that a lot of people that watch these things probably don't know what I consider to be a real common concept or word in woodworking circles, and that stickering is when you're drying wood, and they usually do that, and unless it's a kiln type thing, they use drying sheds. When they mill boards, they will put little sticks between the boards, thus stickering. So while I was cutting up some little pieces to put in between the fretboards, this is just 1/8 masonite that I have laying around the shop here. So I thought, well, you know what, you might need a little clarification on that. Some of you might. Obviously, lots of people know this stuff, but if you don't know it, this is for you. So all it involves is not letting, sure I'm in the camera, not letting you know, any of the sides actually be sealed, all right, from air travel. So you got air circulation, and you just stack the boards up, and that way, while they're waiting to be used, they're getting nice, consistent airflow around the board. Now, you may think this is a big pain, and yeah, it is kind of a big pain. But if you don't do it and you end up with cupped boards, that's a huge pain. So you see what the basic objective is there. So yeah, just to clarify that, I know I used the word stickering earlier in the video, and I wanted to just clarify for those of you that might not be familiar with that term. All right, once again, thanks for watching. Go make some dust.